Nothing is what we think it is. That is the thing to discover. That this reality, it's like, I think I've said this before, if you had a, camera and you're wanting to shoot something. I was watching some photographers near where I live, and it was a beautiful harvest moon a couple nights ago, and they had their cameras out and wanted to catch this incredibly huge moon, coming up over the horizon at sunset. And, they were focusing their camera lenses, and the interpreting mind is like this effort to sort of focus the lens of consciousness to determine what this is, to get a clear view of what this is. But if you feel your experience outside of what you think it is, just feel it. It doesn't matter what you think it is, but just feel what's actually here, what's here, palpably here. You'll never get that lens of the mind to be able to determine what it is. The focus will never become clear. It will always remain elusive, the focus. It can never adjust the focusing lens to a point where you can know what it is, because it's infinite. So it remains unclear. As I sometimes say, freedom is discovering that there is no bondage, nor anyone in bondage that can be found. Even though we can have that experience, to be sure, things seem like, it seems as if we can get that lens to focus and then determine, like, oh, here I am, an individual living in a world. Like, there's the focus. Like, don't tell me that doesn't exist, because here it is. I'm right here, sitting here before you on Zoom. There that is. But it's just like the dream. It's quite convincing that I had a wonderful dream last night of a dear friend, and we're just connecting in the dream, and there was, the whole experience and the richness of it and the depth of it and the intimacy of it. But what was it all? It was dreamlike, wasn't it? It was made of whatever dreams are made of, pure mystery. And this is just like that. This is just like that. It's made of pure mystery. What the moment is made of. It doesn't, it can't be determined. And this is very profound, because we imagine, like I was saying, that something needs to be different, right? Well, we may be imagining that, but this is the infinity. This is the absolute infinity, which we could call the divinity, but we can't. It's just the only thing that exists. The creative force of the universe. There's no words for it, right? And that's always what's happening in all the different seeming forms it can take, all the different flavors of experience it can show up as. But all those different flavors are both very much what they seem to be in one sense, and also entirely beyond how they seem to be. They transcend all notions, all ideas, all conceptions, all frames of reference. And this is literally like this is concretely what we're experiencing, as abstract as it may sound, what I'm saying. This is our concrete experience. The abstraction is that we know what it is. That's the abstraction. the thought about it. It seems like the thoughts limit it, but they don't, because this is unlimited. It can't be limited by anything. It's explosive, the freedom of that, isn't it? And no particular experience brings us closer to that transcendent infinity. Every experience is that transcendent infinity. So you don't need to have something else be happening right now. What's happening right now is the expression of that, the manifestation of that transcendent infinity. In my little announcement about the weekly meeting this week, I had a little accompanying meme that just said, experience is holographic, every point a doorway into infinity. At the hologram, I was just listening to this podcast, wild podcast interview with this, I think, wonderful podcaster, Lex Friedman. He was talking to Zuckerberg, the Facebook founder, and they were using this new technology where it was absolutely wild. They had VR, had goggles on, and they had this experience like they were with each other in a room together, even though they were in different states. And they were talking about, well, what is the difference between the physical reality and the virtual reality? And that's an interesting question. Because in one sense, there's a chapter in my last book, it says something like, is this virtual or real or both? And in one sense, this doesn't feel virtual, it feels real, right? But what is the body, actually? It's some mysterious dance of the transcendent that is like space, right? I mean, even physically, right? The body's ultimately space. And subjectively, the experience of the body, like when we pin it down seemingly, like, oh, the body is a set of sensations. Really? What's a sensation? I feel that right now. Feel your sensations, what you call your sensations. You have this name for it. I have a name for sensation. Oh, what is that? Feel that. It's pure mystery, isn't it? It's pure mystery what everything is. Pure mystery. So anytime we imagine that we have determined what something is, and then we're reacting to that thing that's happening, like, oh my God, I'm experiencing whatever, and this is a problem that I'm experiencing, just look again. There's an opportunity there to look and see, what is there, has it actually collapsed into your interpretation of it? Or do you just imagine that it's collapsed into that interpretation? As I said, the simplest way to see that is that the moment you think you've pinned down what is here and described it, the moment we think that, it is gone. In that sense, there's nothing here. And yet, it's the richest nothingness because it's all of this. It's this aliveness, this absolute vibrancy and explosion of potent, all of it. It's so rich. It's the richness of everything, right? It's so juicy, it's so rich, and yet it's also unfindable as something. In that sense, it's nothing. Amazing. So we can enjoy the richness of it. We are partaking of that richness every instant. But the freedom, the sense of freedom of realizing, wow, this is also at the same time the hologram, literally, the transcendental hologram of infinity. Dreamlike, mirage-like, and yet also real, real as experience. The sound of my clapping hands. There it is, real sound, but it's also infinite, ungraspable, transcendental mystery.